Welcome to Hit the Bricks Live, your #1 podcast for horror movie news, with McCoy from Drumdums, Nick Miller from the Lost River Drive-In, and Davey Death Ray. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hit the bricks, Dorothy.
It's just me.
It's Dave. Next time I'll just let you introduce us, Davey. What's up,
Welcome
everybody?
back to the channel, everyone.
Yeah. We are back with Hit the Bricks episode 13. That's a sinister number right there.
Mm-hmm.
We are back from, what was it, 3 weeks ago? I was on call last week, so maybe we're supposed to come back, but then we came back this week. I don't know. But trying out my other mic tonight, so let me know if you guys hear any discrepancies or anything. Let me say hello to my brothers in horror crime. Davey, how are you doing, brother?
Doing great. Yeah, everything's going awesomely with the channel. I've got a new job opportunity that I'm training up for, and just past 40 days with no alcohol. So
Dude, that's
really
awesome.
pumped for spooky season, and got some stuff in the works, as you guys know. So very happy to see Nick back. Nick, I miss your musk, and it's just not the same without you. We try to go on without you, Nick. It's very difficult because you are the secret ingredient in the special sauce, my friend.
It's like 3 different cogs in the wheel that have to be there, and nothing. I love when people step in to help us out when one of us is gone. They do the most amazing job, but the chemistry that I have with these 2 gentlemen is just insane to me. So I couldn't be more blessed. So yeah, Nick, we're happy to have you back. Nick, how's I know you went on another vacation recently. How'd that go?
Well, you know, it's my family, so dysfunction abound. But no, you know, it was fun. Got to take my kid. He hadn't seen like my siblings and my mom for like 6 or 7 months, so that was cool.
That's nice.
It's always nice too to be able to get to sleep in, because you know my mom wants to get up with him, and I'm like, yeah, that's totally fine. Like I'll totally sleep. Don't even worry about it. So it was a good time. It's one of those things though. I spent a little bit too much money while I was there, and like you get home and you're like, oh, I don't get paid for like 5 days, and this is not good. But yeah, things are going well, man. I actually didn't have my kid this weekend, but that was my choice. His mom reached out to me and she was like, hey, I just want to let you know he's got hand, foot, and mouth, which kids get all the time, especially right after they start school, because children are disgusting. And she's like, it's highly contagious. I'm going to leave it up to you. And I was like, it's probably for the best that he goes to the doctor and gets it taken care of. I'm not trying to get sick. So, but I talked to him on the phone a couple of times yesterday. He's doing good. So that's cool. Man, I feel like I'm working 2 jobs right now. I'm trying to make sure that I do content like literally every day.
Dude, your channel's been killing it lately. Very proud of you.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I got past the comma in revenue for the month so far, which is the first time that's ever happened to me. So I'm just kind of like, you know, it's pretty crazy, but it's been awesome. It's been really awesome. I've been meeting a lot of really cool new people, and you know, I'm just having fun with it. I mean, it does feel like a job sometimes when you're up to like 2 and you got to work the next day, but you're like, I have to edit this motherfucker. Like, but it's worth it. The proof is in the pudding. If you just kind of work your ass off, it'll eventually happen. Eventually, you know, took me a while, but eventually. Yeah.
You know, I talked to like anybody in the chat that might have a YouTube channel, or people that listen to this after the fact that have a YouTube channel. And I've stated this in the past. If you look at what Nick did, Nick was talking, and I don't want to speak for you, Nick, but I will. Nick, he found a little niche about Halloween. Let's just say Halloween. And not necessarily let's do a review, but let's talk about one little, could be physical media, could be just one little aspect of the movie, could be anything. But as soon as something hits, And you notice, like, and I'm sure Nick did this. He's, oh shit, that just got 3,000 views. Maybe I should make another, and maybe I should make another. And you just keep riding that freaking train until people stop watching, which they probably won't, because he's built an audience. And
But
you know, it's just interesting topics as well that you don't necessarily always see. Like, you know, like this right here. I saw Nick's video, the Halloween 6 bootleg producer's cut. I have the DVD. Nick, was that the VHS that you had?
no, it was a DVD.
It was the DVD. I think it's a different, there's like freaking 10 different versions of this DVD. It used to be floating around, but
yeah, that video is right, like, gonna probably pass 10K here very, very soon in views. And like, but the thing about it too, and I was talking to Christian about it, because I kind of avoided doing like a bunch of Halloween content for years. I do it here and there, but like I told Christian, I never want to get boxed in on YouTube, and the algorithm box me in as like, this is your thing. So I try to just do different things, but like I would do a review for a new movie and it wouldn't really do well. And I'm just like, maybe YouTube has already kind of boxed me in a way. And so, but also it's been really cool because I've had many people comment things like, it's crazy how you're able to find like this or that to make an entire video about. Like, it's not like the typical Halloween movie videos you see where it's like, how many people did Michael Myers kill in the Halloween? Like, no, none of that stupid. It's more like minute things that niche
stuff.
I'm really trying to like flesh it out into a full-fledged video. And then also it's not disingenuous at all, because like, look around me, like that's my thing. Like,
that's your thing.
I mean, I could literally rotate my camera and you can see like above my bed is literally all Halloween posters. Like, it's so it's not like I'm trying to like do something that's out of my wheelhouse. Like, no, I could talk about Halloween all day, every day of the week. So like, yeah, it just works. I've done it. I've been, you know, this last week or so, I've done a couple different things to kind of be like, okay, I don't want to do too much before October, because I've been getting comments like, what are you even going to have for October now, since you've been doing so much?
There's like, other horror content.
Well, I was like, if you guys think I don't have certain things that I've been keeping for October, then you're crazy. Like, don't worry, stuff's coming for October. But yeah, man, it's been really cool. It's been nice.
You flew right past that 11,000 mark there, Nick. I noticed that.
Yeah, no,
that 1,000 after 10,000 came really quick, huh?
Yeah. And it's
That's
one
awesome,
of those.
Man.
I was telling Christian on Unita the other day, I was like, this is the first time, like, in being a content creator, where every 30 minutes or whatever, when I go on the studio app, it's another 10, 15, 20 subs. It's just like,
that's so great.
I'm not used to that. So, but with that comes a lot of freaking comments, and now I'm like, shit, I'm really struggling. So like, I'll have to sit down for like an hour and be like, I'm going through these comments. And so it's a good
problem to have.
Yeah,
right?
First world problems, right?
It's a good problem. Yeah.
Gretzky sat there and signed everything that people wanted him to sign when he was at the height. I mean, I've got a signed Gretzky card because he was that cool. So it takes some time, but you know, if you want to be the great one, you got to put in the time.
Yeah, you know, when those the David Gordon Green trilogy, when that was coming out, I think that was when my channel was really flourishing. And to coincide with that, I did the whole Revisited series, and I would like spend like Saturday morning, because I would be off work, and I would just devote 2 hours to comments, just sitting there, just thank you, or at least give them a heart or something like that, just because I just want people to know that I'm definitely watching, and I can't thank you enough. And I still do that, you know, on like Saturday mornings. I'll just sit there and go through comments, or when I'm sometimes, you know, when I'm at work, I'll have a moment.
I was one of those commenters, Lee. You were probably like, who's this loser, Davey Deathray? Yeah, he'll never amount to anything. I'll never co-host a show with this guy.
Yeah, he'll never be on a podcast.
I actually got like there was like 2 comments last week that really stood out to me. Like, one of them I replied to a guy, and he like replied back and was like, oh wow, I didn't expect you to reply so fast. Like, thanks so much, big fan of your content. I'm like, dude, I'm a nobody. Like, you're like, you don't have to thank me. And then another person yesterday was like, oh, it's really cool that you took the time to reply to me. I was like, I mean, I get it, like, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, there are channels that dwarf like,
but those are like, those are the people that are going to share your channel and share your videos because you make that connection. That just, you know, that's what I tell people all the time, is the reason why the channel's growing is because of you guys.
Yeah.
You know.
We can talk about troll comments all day, and I think we tend to lean on those a little bit more, maybe for content, but to stop and really say thank you to the 97-ish% of positive comments that I'm sure you guys get too.
Mhm.
I don't think I take enough time to do that, to say thank you outside of trying to respond to what they say. But like, I remember one time when I went to my first HorrorCon, Spooky Empire, back in 2018. This was like when the first David Gordon Green movie came out. And I was just, I've never been to a HorrorCon before. I'll go do this and see what this is like. And I walk up, because it's one of these big like convention centers or whatever. And I'm walking to the floor. There's like a landing there. And there's this kid, this 14-year-old kid with his mother on the couch. And I'm walking through, and he stops and he sees me, and he stands up and he goes, "Mom, it's him." And I'm kind of like deer in the headlights. I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And then he runs up to me and he was like, "Drumdums, oh my God, I've been watching your channel." And my channel had only been out for like, I think 3 years at the time. And it took me back. Like, I didn't expect. And that's the power of people watching your content. And it's just the coolest feeling in the world. And I think it just gives you that drive that you need to say, oh, maybe there is another reason why I'm doing this besides trying to get views and whatnot. That's the thing that's the best, is when you're touching a life.
100%. And that's what my channel started as. It was just me having fun, like as a teenager, which is why I would upload like once a year. I wouldn't do any editing. Like, it'd be those videos where you had the camera and the video would start with you like pressing record, and then you'd like back up and you'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, and then you just throw that bitch up on YouTube with no thumbnail. Like, but in these times too, it can't go understated that like, you got to have a side hustle these days. Like, you have to. Things are way too expensive. It's too expensive to be alive. So it's like, it's nice when it's a hobby, and it should always remain a hobby, but you're also able to kind of get some like secondary income. So it's been really cool. I've been really appreciating it. And, I think all three of us look at YouTube in a similar way. So you can tell the people that are very inauthentic, like, and I don't really run in those circles, because like, I don't have patience for that. Like, I don't know. I have self-control, but I'm liable to like tell somebody off.
Dude, let's Pumpkin King, man. No, thank you so much. That was a really nice super chat right there.
Hey, Pumpkin King, save some. I'm going to be going live this week. Save some.
Save some for Nick.
I know it's been a month. I haven't streamed in like a month, but I did tell myself, I was like, I'm going to stream this week, because I haven't in like a month. And that's probably the best like forum for you to like connect with your audience, is when you can spend an hour and a half, 2 hours literally just talking to them in real time. So I'm gonna do that this week. I don't know about
Pumpkin King, if you want us to talk about crotchless panties and barking like a dog or anything, just let us know, and we'll jump right in there. Wow, that was really, really nice. Davey, I got a question for you. Since we're talking about YouTube, the very first time you turned on the camera for YouTube, what was that experience like? Were you nervous, or were you just like, no problem whatsoever?
Yeah, I was. So my very first video was just on my phone, and it was a non-spoiler review of Dylan's New Nightmare, because I decided to start my channel. I went to Mad Monster. I met Dave McCray. I, watched the pre-screening of Dylan's New Nightmare. I was like, this is going to be my first video. That was pretty easy. The one that was just on my phone, that was like, hey, I've decided to start a channel. Here it is. And there was a bunch of people that were really supportive. Lee, I think you jumped in on the comments. The video got pretty good views for me, like having nothing as a channel. But the first time I like pulled out my Canon and like set it up for video and like did the lighting and everything and shot a video, I think it was like the Rad 9 movies that made me.
Oh my God, I did
something
that
like
too.
that.
Yeah,
and I did it because I saw you do it, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna hop in on this. And I did like a physical media version. Every movie I had to have a copy of. So that was a little different for sure. But I didn't get nervous until I was like, okay, now I'm gonna do like I'm gonna do all the Black Christmas movies during December. Like, that's when I started getting nervous, is when I started doing like themes, and I wanted to make sure that like I was bringing something new and fresh to the table because so many people talk about these movies. That's when the nerves hit, is when it was like, okay, I'm going out into territory that's been covered. What can I offer? Because one of the reasons why I started a YouTube channel is because I was like, well, I see a lot of people talking about these movies, but I also have some thoughts that maybe are a little bit different. And translating everything that's in your head and finding a way to articulate it, on video is so different. And I think that's what separates people that just they stay in the chat, and that's great. Like, we need, the audience is amazing and they're such a huge part of it. And some people cross over into content creation, some people don't. And I think one of the differences is just like, do you have the brass cojones to like put yourself on camera and do the thing? And since I've been playing music most of my life and I've done stand-up comedy and stuff like that, I was like, okay, I can't be nervous about the camera. I can't let that get the best of me, because I think I've got something to say, and I want to be a part of this.
I always tell people, if I can do this, you can do it. Anybody can do this if I can do this. Because
I think
and that's not me being silly. That's me being dead serious. Because if you watch, and I've talked about my first review, Predestination, countless times, but something I never tell anybody, and I'll give you a little nugget here, because that review was in January of 2015, but I started my channel 6 months earlier. Drumdums started it 6 months earlier. What I don't tell people is that the Godzilla 2014 had come out, and I said, that's going to be my first review. I decided I'm going to do this. That's going to be my first review. And I did the phone thing in the car, and in my head, I'm like, I got this. This is easy. I know the things I want to talk about. Dude, as soon as I hit record in that car, I'm like, Godzilla.
It was fun.
This was awesome, man. You should have. This was great. All I could say was, Godzilla, awesome, great. Wow, that was cool. That's all I could say. It freaked me out so much. Of course, I deleted the video, which I wish I didn't. And it took me 6 months to get the courage to try it again. So Nick, what was your first experience like? Sorry, like that made me nervous just talking about it. Jesus.
Honestly, I don't remember any nerves, to be honest with you. It was, I did I think I was like 14 or 15, and I just had all my Halloween movies at the time. I didn't have as many as I have now, and I was like, obviously, and I was like, I'm gonna do a Halloween complete collection video, because I'd been watching a ton of those like in the early 2010s, or late 2000s, early 2010s, and so I did my own. And I just remember, like, I was kind of talking super fast, like my brain was my mouth was moving faster than my brain. And I was just kind of like going. I was nerding out, and I was like, look at this, and look at this, and look at this. And like, I don't think I've ever really had nerves with doing content. The only time I've ever had nerves is when I'm like with somebody for the first time that is a content creator that I've really like looked up to, or like that has made me nervous, or like interviews. Like, I think interviewing Daniel Farrens was one where, me and Christian were both kind of like, holy shit, like this is cool. And it's also kind of nerve wracking too, when you are doing the interview solo, when that's not really your forte, because like, you don't want to ask a dumb question or anything like that. But one of my favorite moments actually in doing content was when I had Michelle Dawson from Halloween Ends on, and I did an interview with her. And after the fact, she told me, she was like, you did a really good job. Like, and I was like, oh, thank you. She's like, no, like I never felt uncomfortable. Like, it was fun. I liked the camaraderie. Like, and if you ever want to have me back on, and like, that was something that was really cool to me, because I was like, dude, like, I don't want to fucking look stupid or sound stupid. But yeah, no, dude, honestly, as your channel grows, the one thing that you really like have to think about, and something you don't necessarily think about at the time early on, is like, you're going to start to get shit. The more your stuff goes out there, you are going to get more trolls. Like, it's going to happen. And you can't be thin skinned with that. I mean, it's multiple times a week for me now, where it's just like somebody running their mouth or whatever. And it's just like, okay, you're watching though. Like, thanks for the ad revenue. Like, I don't really know what to say. I mean, I won't get into like deep specifics with it, but like, I had my first, another channel that's much larger than mine kind of badmouth me over the weekend. And, people were DMing me while I was at work on Friday. hey, you got to check this out. You got to check this out. And I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I went and watched it. And I just like, it was a really weird badmouthing. It was like, I hate watch this guy. I don't know why. He seems like an all right dude. Go check his stuff out, but I don't know why. Like, I don't like him. Like something like that. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
how could you not like Nick?
That one throws me for a loop. I know it's probably for some of my opinions. Like that's what it has to be. I have to have an opinion on a Halloween movie that he's just like, oh, what a fucking idiot. And that's fine. Like whatever. I mean, I love Halloween 5. I love Halloween Ends. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. That comes with the territory. But it's just weird because like when your channel is so much bigger than mine, why the fuck are you wasting your time talking about me in one of your videos? Like, look at the bigger picture here. I'm nothing. Like, I'm minuscule compared
to
you.
Free advertisement. Free advertisement.
Yeah, it is. And I can't lie. I might have looked up Social Blade and seen that over the last month. My YouTube channel has done better than his, but that's beside the point, guys.
I didn't even know you could do that.
There you go.
Yes, you can.
And apparently he's watching you a lot. If he like stuck in your
No, he says it in the video. He says he's been watching like all my videos.
That's a good thing. He's hate watching.
This is what it is. Because I watched the video as well, and I'm not going to say the channel's name or anything, but I said this in our chat. I think he's got a crush on you, Nick, and he doesn't know how to reconcile it. That's why I reconciled my crush on Nick right away. You just got to deal with it and just accept that it's a thing. Once you accept it, you won't be hate watching, you'll be love watching, and you can just join the rest of us, guy.
I mean, I'm just going to tell you guys the truth. If there's somebody that I don't like, I'm not watching their stuff. Like, well, I don't watch a lot of YouTube regardless. Like, I really don't.
Sure.
And I need to do more of that to pop in and say hi to my friends and stuff. But like, I just don't watch a lot of YouTube. But especially if you're somebody that I don't like, you're never going to find me even coming across your channel. I don't care what you're
I can't do it. Yeah.
There was a channel, and I won't say the name, but it's kind of a peer channel, bigger channel. And when Halloween Ends was coming out, we get on the socials and we talk it up. And this channel, I don't know them personally at all, and they blasted me on Twitter and basically stating that I was like gatekeeping in their video. They like featured me in their video stating that I was gatekeeping Halloween Ends, and I never responded to it. I took the high road, but I've never told anybody that they were wrong for not liking Halloween Ends, and we've covered that a million times. But yeah, I can relate. I have been called out, I guess, a couple times in my career, but I think that's just going to come with it, especially if you start getting to a certain level. It's just the way it is.
Well, Christian said that's how you know
you like something.
Yeah,
right. I guess
Christian said that's how you know your channel's starting to get bigger. And he's like, if anything, man, you just kind of take that and you take it on the chin, and you're like, flattery. Hey, congrats, I'm coming across your homepage. Like that says I'm doing something right. So, and the shitty thing was, I commented on the video, and he had been replying and hearting every comment. He totally ignored my comment, and like all I said was, why on earth would you hate me? LOL. Is it because I have shitty opinions? He ignored my comment entirely. He responded to everybody else.
Yeah, that's what they do. It's a passive thing.
I don't know if he was like, oh shit, I didn't know that he was going to see this. Like, I don't know what to say. And I'm like, I mean, dude, like, come on. I don't care, but like, you could at least just tell me. Like, I'm not going to change who I am, but I'd like to know why, I get your panties in a bunch. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me say hello to some of these awesome people in the chat. Aaron Click, how are you doing? I think Aaron, was that you that posted about the Charlie Kirk thing? Oh my god, I didn't want to dare mention it.
Posts there, maybe a couple.
Yeah, I'm trying to steer clear of that one. Dean Renner, Erica, thank you for posting all those links and whatnot. Ashton Luck, Blazing Asian, Jeff Overing, Ali, I made you a mod just in case because Ali's just been
I noticed that. That's
supportive.
Awesome.
Every stream that we have, she's there. She shares it on the freaking Twitter, and
she's freaking Twitter.
She bought a tank top.
The freaking Twitter. Yeah. But does she have the Halloween tank top? That's
probably
with the Mississippi one where you cut it yourself.
But she's got the Hit the Bricks tank top. It's even cooler in some ways.
I meant to wear my Hit the Bricks tonight, but I just felt like the Halloween Mississippi tank was the way to go. So
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're gonna start off with a softball topic, and then we'll jump into the heavy news. All right. The softball topic. Let me share my screen here. Let me see. Hold on. Share screen. And
I'm not good at sports, dog. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm not athletic. I'm not coordinated. We're doing softball. It's not
softball.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. And shit, where'd I go? Where'd I go? Hold on. I got my second monitor here, and I haven't put it up yet. So, okay, yeah. Here's our softball topic. And I presented this. Somebody, I wish I would have wrote their name down. Somebody wrote this on Facebook. Alternate universe. What if Laurie Strode wasn't the final girl? What if it was either Annie or Linda? So my question to you guys and the chat is, which one would you prefer to be the final girl? And before you guys give me the answer, I did a video on this. I think Jason from Sinister Cinema Reviews first did the video about this theory that's one of his commenters raised, that Michael Myers isn't necessarily after Laurie Strode in the first movie. He's actually after Annie. Because if you remember, the moment where they're walking down the street and Annie goes, "Hey, jerk, speed kills," and he like slams on the brakes. And from that point on, up until he gets to Laurie, he is fully in search of Annie. And he just happens to, because Laurie comes to the door after, and then he chases Laurie. So I think Michael's just chasing anything in his path, but I think Annie was the first target. And I don't know, it's an interesting theory. So, but my answer for myself, I would say it's tough. It's kind of tied because both girls offer. I'd say Annie though. I think Annie has a little bit of final girl material in her. So yeah, that would be my answer. Would I prefer it be Annie over Laurie? No, I think Laurie is, she's set up to be the perfect final girl. So yeah, but yeah, I would go Annie. All right. And so I'm going to pass it to Davey. And Davey, what would your answer be?
Yeah, so and this one actually came to us by way of official Halloween movies. So this is
nice.
like the Compass International and Trancas International people. They're the ones that sent me this really cool Halloween Portal shirt. Yeah, for me it's got to be Annie as well. I mean, I guess there's like a part of Linda where you could see, maybe there's some sort of connection to Judith Myers because she's even more scandalous or whatever in a sexual way, outwardly. I don't even know if that's a word.
That's it.
But yeah, I've seen the video that Jason put together, and he makes a really good, like a very compelling argument there that he is after Annie. We just see so much more stalking with Annie. There are the moments with Laurie where she sees him and everything like that.
Yeah.
But the stalking moments with Annie, I think, are some of the better moments in the movie, and some of the mystery that I love about Michael. We see a lot of those moments when he's watching Annie on the phone and watching Annie as she goes to do her laundry and all that kind of stuff. And it seems like with Laurie, is he going to cross the street and go for Laurie no matter what?
Yeah.
Or does he follow her across the street because she enters like his space where he did his thing? So I think that's what makes me think, yeah, it's got to be Annie. And then, Linda's just friggin' collateral damage, I guess, as well. But yeah, I think Annie makes sense here, even though I wish the performance were a little bit better. It's one of those things about Halloween. I love Halloween to death, but you got, every now and then I'm like, well, you can be fair about something that you think is an absolute classic movie. And I think that the performance there could be a little bit better, but yeah.
Oh, I've even said that to myself, when I'm watching Halloween, and it's one of those rare occurrences where I almost prefer the acting to be a little bit less than great, just because it sort of adds to the innocence of Laurie, Annie, and Linda, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you get the antithesis of that is Myers, which is just this ultimate evil. So I don't know. It just
she's kind of a jerk though too. She's a little on the evil side. She's really mean to Laurie.
There's a name for, what would you call that? Like the backup final girl? Like I think every good slasher has what you'd call a backup final girl, for lack of a better phrase.
The decoy.
The decoy, the red hair. Sometimes there'll be a slasher and it won't have Like the final girl won't be set up immediately. Like you'll be wondering, like, there was a movie recently I just watched, and I was like, I don't know who the final girl is, because they have like 3 different girls here, and they all kind of seem to occupy the same space.
Even in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, you think it could be Tina, right?
You do?
Like that's what I think watching that movie the first time.
Yeah. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah.
What's your answer?
Yeah, it's Annie. I know that the character of Linda is supposed to be kind of an airhead, and so I just don't feel like there's enough substance or depth there to her character. Whereas Annie, I always felt like there was a little bit more to mine there. She seems to have a little bit more personality, not in like the vivacious, bubbly way like Linda does, but I think there's more there. But as far as like the theory of, well, he was after Annie and stuff like that, I kind of always push back on that, because before Annie says speed kills, before any of that stuff happens, like, yes, he wants to kill Annie. That becomes very clear. But the reason he's stalking the girls at that point is Lori. I mean, we're kind of forgetting that, like, he was inside the house when she came up to the door and she dropped the key, and he kind of immediately became fixated on her. He's outside the school watching her from the street while she's in the school. And that's all before what Annie does. So that theory is always like, and I know people have like made videos on this, but I'm always just kind of like, well, it's just wrong. Like, yes, he does eventually turn his attention to Annie to kill her after that moment when they're walking home from school. But the only reason that moment presents itself is because he is infatuated with Laurie Strode. So like she was always the target. Now, obviously Halloween 2 is going to tell you, well, it's because it's his sister. But in reality, it was just, I think she was probably the first human interaction that he had. She came up to his house while he was standing right there. And I think just was like, I'm going to kill you. Like I for whatever reason. So I objectively, I objectively believe, like, no, Annie was never intended to be the target. Laurie was the target. Annie was the side plot. It was a branch that got added onto the tree because she pissed him off. So he was like, oh, okay, well, I'll kill you now too. Like, that's fine. But then as soon as he's done with her, I mean, he sets up the room for Laurie.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it was all for Laurie. It was always about Laurie. Like, I think there's ample examples throughout that movie that Laurie was the target from the very beginning, and he just kind of got in the way.
He's working up to it.
The first clue, and I guess the main clue, was when she drops the key off at the Myers house, and I wish I had you all alone and all that stuff. Then he's locked in, you know. But then I think that's what it is. I think she was always the main target. Annie pissed him off, so I'm gonna go kill her, but she's still kind of my main target. So, all right, let's jump into the news now. Let me share this tab here.
I think he's just building up to it. It's like when I eat sweet tarts, like blue's my favorite. So maybe I like put those off to the side and I take care of the rest. And then I'm like, oh yeah, blue. I went and saved the best for last. So here we go. You know, it's time for that fruit punch. Let's go.
So is Laurie Strode fruit punch?
She is the fruit punch to my Michael. Yes.
We have an episode title now.
There we go.
The fruit punch to my Michael. I'm always looking for those little titles. And
I love it.
Davey usually presents them somehow. So, okay. Texas Chainsaw Massacre A24. Is A24 just going to buy up every fucking thing? Like, is everything going to be owned by A24 within the next 3 years? Because where'd they get all this money? Jesus. Are those A24 movies really making that much? I got questions. Texas Chainsaw Massacre A24 reportedly landing film and TV rights to the franchise. All right, let's read this. While we wait for the Friday the 13th television series Crystal Lake, Deadline reports tonight that A24 is also boarding the iconic Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Deadline reports confirms a scoop previously broken by the Insider. The rights have been up for auction with multiple interested parties around Hollywood, and the site's sources have indicated that A24 is close to winning film and television rights. Deadline report. Why would they post this story before it's final, though? Deadline also reports first up would be a series from JT Molnar, Roy Lee, and Glenn Powell, though the latter will not star, as we previously told you. Apparently, the deal hasn't closed yet, but A24 has pole position. That's good wordage. Deadline, make sure to note in tonight's report. Another source close to the action tells us that this is all premature, but it's clear that the genre label behind Hereditary isn't letting this one go. The outlet also mentions that Roy Lee has expressed interest in making another Texas Chainsaw Massacre film for Netflix, which could still happen with A24 boarding the property. That's another thing, too. Just because one gets it doesn't mean another one's not going to marry up. The rights to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre are represented by Verve with other interested parties in recent months, including Jordan Peele. Wow, that'd be interesting. Osgood Perkins and Taylor Sheridan. Would Osgood be able to do? Because Osgood mostly works with Neon right now. So it's now been 3 years since Netflix premiered Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a legacy sequel. So my question for you guys and my question for the chat is, and I think the knee-jerk reaction would be like, hell yeah, it's A24. They definitely have they push for art, and I think they probably give directors the freedom to make the movies that they want. So I think you could pro and con this, but I think it's more on the pro side of things. Like, I would rather A24 have it than Blumhouse, if I'm being honest. So, I mean, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I can't see a reason why I wouldn't want A24. I think now the con of it would be, it seems like A24 has a lot of properties on their plate, because it seems like we get at least, I don't know, maybe 6 A24 movies a year. So if they do get the rights, like, how fast would this thing happen, or would they put it on the back burner? Maybe they're just trying to say, we want to have the rights to TCM, but we don't have a plan to actually kind of like the Jason universe, with Horror Inc. We want to just make sure our name's attached to it, but we don't really have the time or the effort to actually put anything into it. So that's where I'm at with it, with the pro and con. But I don't know. A24 seems like they got their shit together as far as, being motivated. So I think we would, if they get it, I think we would probably see something within a year. So Nick, I'll go with you on this one. What are your thoughts on this?
Not a fan, man.
Right,
Christian and I agree on that. I was surprised. We talked about it on Unita the other day. I was vying for Neon, and if Neon wasn't going to get it, I was pulling for Paramount in second place. A24, to me, I have nothing against A24. I quite like, a decent amount of their output. It's just, I don't know if TCM fits them. Like, it just seems like a weird fit to me. And then furthermore, for whatever reason, I worry what it's going to mean long-term for the franchise, because, like,
that's a good point.
One, A24 is not known to sequelize. Like, it's just not something that they really do. Two, does A24 have the marketing machine behind it that's going to be able to get the word of mouth out there about this movie to get enough people to go see it? Then you have to worry about, I don't know, man. There's just a lot of things about it. And then, like, well, what if they do a fucking, like, streaming thing? Like, oh, we're going to do a show as the first thing. And it's like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really going to ignite the Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan base, which is already dwindled as it is right now. So it's just, I just don't know if they were the right decision. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I don't feel like A24 is at the top of the heap right now. I would say that Neon and Blumhouse right now in horror are definitely in, I think, a better position than A24 is. And then furthermore, Paramount is freaking Paramount. They're like a giant beast. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not. And I also worry, what if they get too fucking experimental with it? And I know that's such like you only say that because it's A24 and they have that moniker of like getting weird and different and elevated. And I'm not against that, but like, I don't know, like with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's just not, it doesn't get me excited at all. And I hate to be like a Debbie Downer about it, but I'm just not a fan.
Well, I will say this before I go to Davey. It's the one franchise that seems to bounce from studio to studio to studio, and it seems like they never really get any kind of consistency with sequels. I mean, you could say that the prequel, the beginning, and the remake are the one of the few that actually, but you don't really have like a part three, like a true part three. Yeah, you got the legacy ones where 3D was technically, actually it was a part two. So you got a bunch of part twos, but you never, and it's just, I think it bounces from studio to studio. So I think it would be no harm, no foul if they did go to A24, like say A24 took a movie and then they kind of just chucked it in the lake and then another studio grabbed them up. And I think we'd still get another, like Netflix. I mean, Netflix only had one movie. So if A24 took over a different franchise, maybe I'd be a little bit more skittish about it, like Halloween. Not that I wouldn't like Halloween in A24, but I think A24 hasn't disappointed me yet. I think that's the big thing. It's in terms of horror. I usually get pretty excited with anything horror-wise with A24. And I'm kind of curious to see what they could do with one of these bigger horror IPs, It could end up being a beautiful thing. I don't know. And Chad, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. But as far as the TV thing goes too, I think before Alien Earth, I was very cautious about going TV, but I think I'm digging Alien Earth. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing ever, but there's some greatness in that show, I think. And plus, if you're like me and you like Prometheus and Covenant, when they get really into the woods, into the weeds, I guess, with the franchise, they do stuff like that in Alien Earth. So could they do that with Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Is it a property that could suit TV? I don't know. Maybe we shall see. But I'm still kind of on the fence. But Davey, what do you think, brother?
So, I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is this the franchise that has the most like direct sequels ever? It seems like there's so many direct sequels in this, and it's crazy. Or remakes. It seems like almost every sequel is kind of a reboot. Even the second movie feels like a total reboot to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not really precious about this franchise. I also question, I think just when it comes to this franchise in general, like where do you go? And that's why the franchise is not very consistently good. And that's why we've already seen wacky ass sequels and reboots and prequels, because what do we do? Because the first movie is so solid. It's so amazing. I mean, I think the remake's pretty good too, but again, that's just like the story from the original. There's something so perfect about the way that that movie is told. So I've got a couple thoughts on here. If I had my pick out of all these people, I would pick Osgood Perkins, because I love that. Like, I would specifically want him to bring his Long Legs team, because I'd be like, let's make a TCM movie that looks like that, where we do see some on-screen violence, but we see some really creative camera movements and blocking and editing. And we see a TCM movie that has that documentary kind of like fly on the wall sort of view, which I think the original has in a sense. So I'd want to see something that kind of brought us back there. But I think as far as like my thoughts on A24, I do like a lot of their movies. I think that what they're doing is really they're trying to diversify. They've got Friday the 13th. We'll see how that goes. That will kind of tell us how they're going to handle something like TCM, especially with the TV show as sort of a, laying a foundation. Maybe that's what they want to do with TCM, is lay a foundation, make some movies after that, or maybe they want to split it up. But it's encouraging to me that they want to try new things and that they want to try things with these classic IPs. And I think the last little bit of information that I think is good to keep in mind, regardless of our opinions on A24 or the franchise, is when all of these entities come to the table for a bid, yes, money is definitely part of it, like how much money they're willing to spend for the rights. I also think that the pitch, your idea for what you're going to do with the property, if you have a good group of rights holders, I think that matters too. When Evil Dead was, lining up for a remake or a reboot in 2013, Sam Raimi, Rob Tappert, and Bruce Campbell heard ideas from all sorts of people, directors and writers that wanted to jump in and tell an Evil Dead story. They picked Fede Alvarez because he was the only one that didn't include Ash. So they chose him based on, we think this is the viable future for our franchise. Hopefully that's what the folks over at Verve are doing in giving A24 that pole position, is they think this is a great mix of, we're getting the kind of compensation we want, and we think that we're going to put this property in the right hands moving forward. So that's why I have faith in A24 on this one, even though in my heart of hearts I want Osgood Perkins there, but that guy's so fucking busy. I'm gonna be the person that talks about Osgood Perkins the way everyone else talks about Mike Flanagan. That's a property's gonna come up and I'm gonna be like, Osgood Perkins should take that one on. But really he should just do his own shit because he's so fucking awesome.
I'm wondering what the chat thing is. There a way to do a poll in StreamYard, or do I have to do that over on YouTube?
I think you have to do it on YouTube, but I could line up like the same exact poll on mine. And last thing I'll say is JT Molnar, Strange Darling, is beautiful. The saturation of color, Giovanni Ribisi as cinematographer, I think a lot of people forget that. I thought he did a great job there. And the storytelling, I'm like, those are good hands to put.
Dude, if JT Molnar does it, man, that could be amazing, because I love Strange Darling.
He's the one they mentioned, and then they said Glenn Powell won't be in front of the camera, which I think works. I don't want anyone that I know in front of the camera on this one. You want it to be
like, you don't want like at least a one star name. You want it to be all kind of unknowns.
I am like, fuck that when it comes to these things like this. Like, I want to see somebody, like, I don't want to see somebody I know playing Freddy. And when it comes to TCM, I just want it to feel real and raw and uncomfortable. That's what I want from TCM.
Nick, do you want this to be like, where do you want the story to start? I think Trina brought that up. Like, where do you start? Do you want this to be a remake, or do you want them to like, what do you do? Or just tell a completely different story? I don't know. What do you think, Nick?
I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not a franchise that can do any kind of legacy sequel. We saw that with 2022. The amount of returning characters there would even be available would just be pointless. The continuity in this franchise is just shot to shit anyway. So, like, I don't want to see that. A full-on remake, I mean, because 03 is not really a remake. Like, it is a remake, but it's very different from the original movie. And adds a lot of layers that weren't necessarily there in that first movie, but also sheds some of the layers that were there in the first movie. So it's kind of its own thing. But I mean, I would just do a straight up reboot, like, in the sense of, like, I think we need to kind of start fresh. I think we need to, we really just, I don't know, man. Like, that's kind of where I sit with it, is like a fresh reset for the franchise. I think it's desperately needed, where we don't rehash anything. If that means it's a straight up remake, then it's a straight up remake. But you don't have to tell the story of Franklin and Sally and all that. No, you can do a reboot where, like, we introduce the family and Leatherface and a group of kids come across it and havoc ensues. And, like, I feel like that's probably the best way to go. I just don't think there's enough there to be like, let's bring back this character and we'll have it be a sequel to this movie. Who are you going to bring back? They're all fucking dead. Like, I don't know. And then you're going to confuse people, because, like, they did in 3D, they're like, we're bringing back Bill Moseley, but he's not Chop Top. We're bringing back Gunnar Hansen, but he's not Leatherface. It's like, wait, what the fuck? So, like, I just total reset, I think.
I'll tell you what I want. I don't even know if it's possible, but if they could somehow capture what the first movie did and bring in 16mm cameras and bring in maybe a hot young director right out of college that is just hungry and make something as shocking as the first movie. If they could do that, can you imagine, like, what the response would be? Because I still get, like, when I watch the first movie, like Davey there, I still get those chill bumps at what they were able to achieve. And it doesn't matter when it came out. If you look at the very first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's different than any other horror movie ever, before or since. It's just a very unique experience. That's what it is. It's an experience. And if they could somehow recreate that experience, and again, I don't even think it's possible. It's lightning in a fucking bottle. But man, if they could somehow do that, I think they could really strike. Like if people coming out of the theater seeing that movie and actually being scared and being like, oh my God, I'm gonna need a minute. That screwed me up big time. I want that. You know, that response of Sally at the end of the first movie. When I first saw the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for a second I was like, are they really hurting her? Like, is that real? Because that seems real to me. And I think we can count on one hand how many movies we've watched in our lifetime and we've had that effect. Not just being scared, but thinking this might be real. You know, maybe Blair Witch Project. That was the impact. And so when people tell me that, and I'm going to get in trouble here, but when people tell me they prefer the remake over the original, the remake, it's a remake and it's fine and it's great and everything, but it's not dangerous. It's like that first movie, man. It's just dangerous, and we're desensitized to it but if they could recreate that, man, can you imagine? Davey, finish my thought, please.
I mean, it's got that whole, I think Last House on the Left has that feel too, where you're like, this feels like a snuff film, or like Cannibal Holocaust, like blurs the lines on all of that quite a bit too. And it makes you
spit on your grave.
You leave like you're a changed person after you watch it. And I mean, I think I think that's one of the reasons why they've had such a tough time with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is because that first movie is just the planets aligning and everything just making something that is so difficult to replicate, which is a good thing that Tobe Hooper decided to not try to do that with his sequel. I'm not the biggest fan of TCM 2, but thank fuck it's just like a wild bonkers sequel that's not trying to capture that same feel. I did see somebody mention, hey, what's happening, Leanna? I saw somebody mention Ty West, and that's not the first mention I've seen, and that would be a good fit based on what we've seen from him. But I don't even know if he put in a bid or is interested. He kind of got to do that with X, which is really great, and I think that's why we draw that connection. But he already kind of got that out of his system, you know, which is like, okay, then like you're saying, Lee, give somebody young an opportunity. And I think that's like, I love seeing just new people get opportunities, because you never know what kind of unique voices are out there.
You never know what's going to come around. You might get another Tarantino or a John Carpenter, you know?
Yeah.
So let's go into
and let Ty West keep on doing his shit, because the X trilogy is fucking awesome. So
it's amazing.
Just go ahead and make your own movies. They're very, very good.
This is a nice transition, because Leatherface is based on Ed Gein. You know? Do you guys know the other character that's based on Ed Gein? I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah, Norman Bates.
Come on.
No,
wait. Yeah.
No, it's Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
You might be right on that.
Norman Bates. It's Norman Bates.
Yeah, Norman Bates. That's it. You got it, Nick. Yeah, Norman Bates. So you know what? There might be 3 people based on Ed Gein.
Because he's making a suit of skin out of his victims, Buffalo Bill, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things Ed Gein did.
Yep, you're dead on. So I'm excited. I mean, did you guys see the what was the other Netflix documentary about the serial killer, Dahmer, Jeffrey Dahmer?
Oh, that's some of the best television. Some of the best.
Dude, it was amazing. It was, you know, jumping right back into what I was talking about just being freaked out by something. That had some freaky shit in there.
Not just that, dude. Evan Peters literally embodied that role. Like
he embodied
it. Jeffrey Dahmer, and it's honestly like, I don't think I'll ever. I grew up watching Evan on American Horror Story, and I feel like I'm always going to remember him now for fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. That's how good he was, though.
You know, I would also recommend, before that came out, there was another movie about Dahmer. I'm sure somebody in the chat can remember what it is, or you guys. It was Dahmer before he made his first kill. And
that's called My Friend Dahmer. It's based on
My Friend Dahmer. That one's very effective
too. One of his high school friends did a comic book, and apparently that's a little more like dark comedy.
Yeah, very, very effective. But let's read through this. The monster, the Ed Gein Story trailer. Charlie Hunnam, who is perfectly cast, by the way. If you've seen what Ed Gein looks like in real life, Charlie Hunnam, I mean, nails it here. And it's kind of funny because Charlie Hunnam's like this, hunky guy, but he captures that essence. So
the makeup work, man, too.
Yeah. You're the one who can't look away from the trailer for Monster, the Ed Gein Story, the third installment of Ryan Murphy's and Ian Brennan's true crime anthology series, streams October 3rd. Perfect timing on Netflix. In the frozen fields of 1950s rural Wisconsin, a friendly, mild-mannered recluse named Eddie Gein lived quietly on a decayed farm. It's always those guys that you never suspect, hiding a house of horrors so gruesome it would redefine the American nightmare, driven by isolation, psychosis, and an all-consuming obsession with his mother. There's your Psycho reference. Gein's perverse crimes birthed a new kind of monster that would haunt Hollywood for decades, from Psycho to Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Silence of the Lambs. Gein's macabre legacy gives birth to the fictional monsters born in his image and ignited a cultural obsession with the criminal deviant. Ed Gein didn't just influence his genre. He became the blueprint for modern horror. Wow. I'm not going to read anymore. Let's just watch this trailer. Okay. And there's yeah, look at that. That's creepy, man. I'm so looking forward to this. They don't have the trailer there? Hold on. Let me see. Hold on.
It should be loading right in that spot there. I don't know why it's not popping up.
That's weird. You know what? Let me see if I can pull it up on YouTube then, because I haven't seen the trailer. Have you guys seen the trailer yet?
I held off to watch it live here.
I watched it this morning.
Okay. Ed Gein trailer. Let's try that. Here we go.
There's something real dark about you, Eddie Gein.
Eddie, you're a mess. Only a mother could love you.
When I look back upon my life, it's always with a sense of shame. I've always been the one to blame for everything I long to do, no matter when or where or who.
Is this okay?
Wow. Oh my God.
I just feel like I'm a puzzle and none of the pieces fit.
Wow.
Addison Rae.
Yeah. Damn. Oh my God. That's so good. Wow.
What did you do? You're the one who can't look away.
It's a sin.
Guys, that looks amazing, man. That looks like the best TV in ages. That might top the Dahmer.
That's Ryan Murphy for you, man. I'm just gonna be real. I obviously got a soft spot for Murphy because I love American Horror Story, or did love American Horror Story. The last couple of seasons have really sucked ass, but
yeah,
the guy has the secret sauce. And when I saw Dahmer, I was like, okay, Murphy still got it. I don't know what's happening to American Horror Story, but he's still got it. And this trailer looks more like that. I mean, it really looks like they're going to dive into Ed Gein, like
it's going to get wild.
The depravity of Ed Gein, you know, like the Leatherface type shit. And I really dig that, but it looks cinematic. It looks like the performances are going to be great. There's nothing about that at all that I was like, oh, I don't know about this. No, I think it looks great. So we'll see, but definitely looking forward to it.
I think if you line up, you know, your serial killers and which one, like, I guess which one would you not want to be in a room with the most? It might be Ed Gein, because that guy was really, really fucked in the head. And if you read about the stuff that he did, and if you see some of the pictures of the stuff that he did, you ask yourself, how could anybody do that? I mean, there's a lot of serial killers that you could file under that too, but I think Ed Gein might be the king of just the creep factor. As far as those go. I think another one that comes to mind is maybe Richard Ramirez, as far as just like, wow, that guy's just completely not like no freaking conscience whatsoever, just like a robot, I guess. So yeah, man, I'm totally in for that. That looks amazing though. Wow. I think it's gonna like blow up Netflix. Okay.
I guess it will. I mean, it will. Yeah. I guess my only thing though, dude, is like, especially with the end of Dahmer where they tease Gacy, I was like, why don't we tackle some of those? Like, I know people would be like, oh, well, we've seen like docudramas and stuff on Bundy and Gacy to death and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but Ryan Murphy is different. Like, we saw a ton of Jeffrey Dahmer stuff too. And then he did Dahmer, and that was like next level. Like, that was just like, holy shit. Like, I think a 10 to 12 episode series on some of the most heinous people in history. Like, Ed Gein was bad. Don't get me wrong, but he's no Ramirez. He's no Gacy. He's no Bundy. Like, I'm excited and it looks great, but I'm like, God, can we go after some of these big fish? Like, I really want to see what Murphy could do with Gacy. Like, I really do, like, because that little tease in Dahmer, I don't know if you remember that episode where you get like Gacy for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
One of the last episodes of Dahmer. And I was like, oh shit, is this where they're going to go next? Nope.
You know, I think it's like you bring up a good point there, Nick, because then I started thinking about Dahmer. It's the crazy shit that he did too. I think every serial killer, they have a certain stamp, certain thing that is just the ick factor is just, you know, level, like topped off. And but they all just have something different about them, you know, just this is completely different. So
we don't even know how many people Bundy killed. I mean, Bundy said it was like triple digits or something.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even, like, we don't even know. And then I think the Green River Killer is one that like really gets forgotten quite a bit. Like, that guy is pretty bad. Like, BTK, Ed Kemper. So here's my thing. I'm going to be the contrarian. I'm going to be the fucking wet blanket. I hate when they dramatize these stories. I hate it. I think they get a lot wrong purposely for dramatic effect. I think it sort of glorifies the person a little bit. There's a lot of shit that's just straight up made up in the Dahmer show.
They kind of did that in Dahmer. You almost felt bad for him, which was weird.
Yeah, well, and they get like facts wrong about like what certain people did. Some of those, like, I think they make a hero out of the Niecy Nash character, and like that person existed but didn't do the things that like they like had her do in the show. So they fuck up everything. So when it comes to these kinds of anomalies, these human anomalies, I just prefer to watch the interviews with them, interrogation videos, stuff like that. Like I like watching Dahmer speak for himself, or Bundy speak for himself, or Kemper. When you do a dramatization or a dramatization of it, to me, it loses all of the luster for me, and it just doesn't work. So and I wasn't really a big fan of American Horror Story either. I have problems with TV. I don't know what it is. I like movies a lot more than I like television. So I'm probably not going to be watching this. I also think, this guy's way too handsome to play Ed Gein. If you look at Ed Gein, it's like they do a good job of approximating it, and they probably went with him because of his performance as well, which is what you should do. And I saw in the article there that he lost a lot of weight for it and everything. But Ed Gein is like not even remotely attractive, I would say, in the face. He just looks like skeletal, kind of a freak show. But yeah, this looks like, man, when he turns around and he's got like the Michael Myers mask on, like that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like Michael Myers. I don't know if any of his masks ever looked like that, but
it looked like Leatherface.
One of the things I'll say, you're not alone. There's a lot, especially after Dahmer came out. I saw a lot of people being like, I don't like these over dramatized, like, you know, it almost seems like it's glorifying these things. And like the over dramatization, you're absolutely right. Like that is just something that you have to, when you get these things, you just know it's going to come, because the sad reality is like, no, there wasn't this really good protagonist that was a part of this story that took this killer down, because obviously they were able to do all of these heinous acts until they finally got caught. So like they have to add certain stuff like that. That's just like storytelling. I get it, but it's especially frustrating when it is like a real story where, you know, like, well, that didn't exactly happen that way. But a lot of people were saying like, because I had a really, really weird struggle with like the last episode of Dahmer when he dies in prison, because I did kind of feel bad for him. And like, it was, I think part of that was Evan Peters. Like it was, I just love him as an actor. And I was like, oh shit. And like the brutality of it, but also like, I personally don't feel like that it glorified Dahmer in any way. I think if anything, like, I mean, it's hard to make that argument, I think, when 10 or 11 of the episodes are literally just disgusting ass shit this person did. Like, I don't think that Ryan Murphy was trying to get you go like, wow, don't you love him? Isn't he such a sweetheart? Like, no, I never took it that way. But and Lyle and Eric Menendez, a little bit different. I do think there was some glorification in that series, but part of that is, I think, because it's a 50-50 issue, you know, like a lot of people are like, they don't deserve to be in prison.
Their case is way different. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not serial killers. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can tell you where I stand on that is I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know enough about them to know if they were victims of abuse, which it seems like they were. I understand lashing out against that abuse. However, I don't know how you square the right after we killed our parents, we went on a vacation and a money spending spree. Like, it's just like, it doesn't really seem like there's any contrition there. It seems like it was premeditated. Like, but regardless, like, I just think that it is a touchy subject whenever you do anything like this. And I totally understand. And it's going to be for some people and it's not going to be for some people. But I don't want us to get to a point where we feel like this is anything new, because they've been doing documentaries and series on this shit for decades now. Like, just search Dahmer on any streaming service. You'll find 5 movies, multiple series. Like, it's just when it's really popular and it like kind of takes over the zeitgeist, that's when people are like, oh, this is a problem. And it's like, well, it's been a problem for a long time. And it's a problem that we have cultivated. And I think COVID really exacerbated that, because everybody that's when true crime blew up. Like, you can go back and look, it was during that time where everybody was like, I'm stuck at home, I'm going to get into podcasts, I'm going to get into series and streaming, and it just, true crime blew the fuck up. So I mean, it's our own fault. Like, as long as we keep consuming stuff like this.
Great TV though. I love the good true, like that, the freaking recent documentary about the high school catfish. Have you guys watched that yet?
Oh yeah. Yep.
That is amazing TV. Like, I can't think of a movie that's better than that right now. It's so good, because it goes to that, like, the truth is stranger than fiction. Like, how in the hell, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but how in the hell can a mother stalk her own daughter and cyberbully her own daughter because the mother's bored? It's insanity. And I'll even say this, like, if there's like a really well done documentary, and let's say that documentary had a movie version that was done really well side by side, I always go for the documentary. I don't know what it is. I just like the format of a documentary. I like that I know it's real. I like that they're actually interviewing the real people. It just, whereas when you're watching a movie, it's dramatized and you don't know what's real and what's not. And it's kind of a bummer if you think it's real and then you find out it's not.
A lot of people, though, they watch these TV shows, they think they're getting education.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's one of the things where it's like, fuck, this is like a lot of this. And so they walk away thinking that they've learned something about this killer. And it's like, no, but you were entertained. Like, okay.
My mom was that way. she thought that Dahmer had like turned his life around in prison and like he accepted God.
He said
and
he
stuff.
did.
And
I mean, there's the interview with his father where they're being interviewed by one of those people. It's not one of the 60 Minutes people, but something very similar. It's like an hour-long interview. And yeah, he says all those things, but also all the guys in prison were like, oh, he would fuck with us all the time. And
yeah,
it's very apparent that he was still one of the reasons why he was killed. The guy that killed him in prison said that like God told him to.
Yeah, and
he did.
Like,
that sounds legit.
I really like
holy shit, he's there. Kill that motherfucker. That's what God said.
Well, in the Dahmer series, in that episode where he gets murdered, like the last 2 episodes of the series, I actually appreciated that Ryan Murphy showed that Dahmer was like drawing pictures of like victims, you know, like the severed hand, and he was making jokes in the cafeteria about his kills, and you know, and it's like, because that was the accounts in prison. Like on the outside, people thought, oh, he really turned his life around, he accepted God, but from the inside, they were like, no, he kind of played this shit up. Like he treated himself like he was a celebrity. And
killers, killers are narcissists, right? Even Ted Bundy did an interview with Jerry Falwell and was like trying to blame everything on seeing pornography as a kid. And it's like, oh yeah, that's why you're doing the most heinous shit anyone's ever done. And it's because you looked at a dirty magazine. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Ted Bundy was a bitch anyway, because he didn't admit to anything until he was literally about to die. And he was admitting to things to get more time because he was hours away from execution. And he was like, oh, if I admit to this, they'll buy me another hour. It'll buy me another hour. But he even said, he's on record as saying, I'm just telling them what they want to hear to extend my life. Like that fucking pussy was such a pussy that even at the end, when he was giving admissions, he was still like, I mean, I'm just doing it to buy time. It's not true. Yeah, I just have all these random details that only the police know that have gone through the crime scene. But like, it's not my actual admission. Like, fuck that guy.
And he thought he was like legitimately a part of the. No, I haven't seen that.
Dude,
wait,
holy
the movie?
Shit. Yeah, no. They mentioned the movie in the documentary, but there was this documentary on the Zodiac Killer that came out this year, I believe, on Netflix. Really well done. And if you ever thought in your mind, is it Arthur Lee Allen that was the Zodiac Killer? This will answer that question for you. Yes. It was definitely Arthur Lee Allen.
I watched that fucking documentary a couple months ago, and it was 100% Arthur Lee Allen.
Oh yeah.
And there are still people that are like, "Whoa, this wasn't consistent." Man, get the fuck out of here. 95% of the evidence pointed to one person, and like, well, we couldn't convict because this one thing. We couldn't bring charges because of this one little thing. Oh, it was circumstantial, dude. That guy was the fucking killer, and the fact that that's going to go unsolved for the rest of time, when we all know that it was Arthur. Lee Allen.
It was him. He was actually living with this family, and they interviewed the kids today talking about the whole and they kind of just, you know, like one of them was in denial that it was him, and the other one had his suspicions, but then they saw the movie, and the David Fincher movie, and they said when they saw the movie, all this stuff started clicking in their heads, and they were like, oh my God, he's the guy, because there was a time when he took us to the beach and he got out and he came back sweating, and he's like throwing bloody clothes in the back of the car. And
then they found a fucking body down there.
Yeah, And the kids were like, we were there. It was this day, this time at the exact location. Yeah, it's fucking Arthur Lee Allen.
The son said that he told him. He told him it was him.
Yeah,
and then
he did.
Called his sister and was like, Art just told me. And she was like, I don't believe it. Like, that's bullshit. And this lady, all the way to the end of Arthur Lee Allen's life, was still hanging out with him, with her fucking children, and going boating and stuff, even though she had basically come to terms with, by that point, he was probably the Zodiac Killer. And I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? Like,
Aaron Click is saying OJ was innocent. Guys, he's not serious, but guys, did you see that recent OJ documentary too?
No.
That will make your stomach turn.
Well, what made my stomach turn is that OJ had a very select few people at his bedside when he was dying, and he made him sign an NDA. So go fucking figure what he told them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anytime that there's like, it involves like battered wives and stuff, that just really gets under my skin. And the stuff that unfolded in that really well put together documentary about him just after Nicole had finally gotten free of him, she wasn't free because he just constantly stalked her, and he'd show up everywhere she was. He's like looking in her window at 2:00 in the morning while she's having sex with a guy that she's dating. I mean, he's just constantly there, and he was obsessed with her, and he just like showed up and freaking slit her. He went there to kill her. It's crazy, man. Breaks your heart.
All I know is that if I was innocent, I know that I would get in my car and I would drive. I would go on a high-speed chase with the police, threatening to kill myself. Like if I was innocent, that's what I would do. Like
exactly right.
I honestly can't take anybody seriously that thinks OJ was innocent. Like you,
dude. I watched that the Bronco, and Davey, you might have too because you're maybe close to age. But I watched the Bronco chase live on TV.
I remember that.
And it was wild. Really,
we listened to the verdict in class. Like, I was in middle school and they gave the verdict, and it's
dude, that was like must
wild.
see TV when that freaking Bronco chase was going on. Everybody, like every household, had that freaking TV on and was glued, and every household knew he did it. Like there was just because he was acting like a guilty guy. He was running from the cops. If you're innocent,
just the most obvious thing.
Shit?
And it's the most obvious thing that like you're gonna look to like family members, spouses, former spouses, lovers. Like those are the people that are going to be most likely to commit that kind of crime. I haven't seen the documentary. I've seen pictures from the crime scene and pictures of the results of what happened, and it's clear that the person that did that, it was a very personal crime because the amount of the places she was stabbed and the amount of stabbings there were, it was not a stranger. It was not just somebody that did it for kicks.
And she even told the cops. She even told the cops he's going to kill me because she called like I think 5 different times. He's going to kill me.
It's not even just that. It's the thing that I remember. My mom told us this as a kid. Like the thing that made her, aside from literally everything pointing to OJ, but like Nicole's head was almost entirely severed.
Almost.
The cuts were so deep and aggressive. Like that was personal. That wasn't a hitman. That was personal. And man, I know at the time it was really like a hot topic for, because a lot of people, wanted to, it was like a race thing for sure. Like I do remember that was like it was creating like issues amongst certain communities. And it was like, guys, I think now looking back on it, most people are like, no, he was guilty. Like he was definitely guilty. But like at the time, it definitely seemed like, not long after Rodney King and whatnot, like,
it was right after Rodney King.
We're going after another, prominent black man. I totally understand why at the time that was perceived that way. But like, I think now in 2025, we should all be able to look back and be like, yeah, dude, that motherfucker did it.
And he committed other violent crimes later on in his life. So when he went to steal back his Heisman Trophy, that was a violent crime because those people were held at gunpoint. Granted, they stole his shit, but he was using a weapon to steal it back. It broke my heart because I love the Naked Gun movie so much. And Nordberg, he did such a good job. It was one of those things where you just didn't want to believe it. But the more you read about him and the way he was, even when he was with Nicole, he treated her dreadfully. So, and then when he couldn't have her, he had to treat her worse. Unfortunately,
and he was like the American hero before it, like he was all over like he was just like untainted. And after that, so I think that's why it was like, I remember on Time Magazine, it literally had his mugshot and it said an American tragedy because I think people felt it at the time, it was like finding out that your dad was a murderer. Everybody loved OJ. And then it went from that to, oh my God, not just a murder, but a heinous, disgusting, vile murder.
Well, and to find out that the mask was off, right? So it's like, it really is like the narcissist being exposed. And it is the most, like, I've had that happen personally in my life with my ex. And it was a really scary situation where I did not feel safe. And I at one point had to barricade myself in a room because of what was going on there. And so, but once their mask is off, it is the most shocking thing because you think that you knew this person. And that's what it was like with somebody like OJ, where in the pop culture world, we think that we know him. And then you find out the way this person really was. I
remember. I remember the Aaron Hernandez shit. That was wild too.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Such a great football player for the Patriots, and then out of nowhere, it's just like, yeah, he's basically like a gangbanger. He's been like killing people and shit, and it's like, oh
crazy.
My God.
And we found out then all the stuff about everything he did in college, because he got in trouble in college with all that stuff, and it was kind of swept under the rug because there was nothing public about it, like in the early part of his professional career. But he was taking pictures of himself holding guns and all that kind of stuff, like throwing gang signs and all that kind of shit when he was in college. But yeah, that is a shocking story.
Davey, I just want to say that I am so glad you're here, and I didn't know that it was that bad. And,
she wasn't. No one was coming after me with weapons, but because of the way that she was, and because of who she was consorting with, I did not.
No, that shit happens.
Physically safe. So I didn't want to. I didn't want to go to sleep in that place and not wake up. So I would barricade myself.
You got to the other side of it.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Yeah, Chappie, let's do it. Chappie, thanks you for this for the super chat. He says, how do you guys feel about remakes should be made? Personally feel they should do something new and different, or something but different, or don't do a shot for shot remake, which is the worst. Yeah. I mean, I don't do Psycho. That's like the worst possible scenario for a remake. It sucks too, because I mean, you had freaking great star power in that. You got Vince Vaughn. You got Anne Heche. I was a big fan of Anne Heche actually back in the day. And it was just like watching. I'll just watch the freaking Alfred Hitchcock. Why am I watching this? It's the same exact thing. So I think. Go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna say I'm a big proponent of remakes existing. That doesn't mean that like I'm like, oh, we need remakes. No, but I've literally always hated the mindset of like, oh, if you make a remake to this, it just waters down, it dilutes the original, like it disrespects the original. No, it fucking doesn't. That movie still exists. Like if you really want to throw a fit about that, like I don't know what to tell you. I've seen many remakes in my time that are better than the original. Like just it is what it is. Like Piranha 3D, better in my opinion. Maniac, better in my opinion.
Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, The Hills Have Eyes. The Last House on the Left, better in my opinion. So it's just like, I think they should exist. I think you should switch up the formula a little bit. And I happen to think that some of my favorite remakes ever switch up the formula. Look no further than TCM 03. It is very much not, or Maniac. They're very much not shot for shot remakes of the original. They're different. And I think if you have enough of the bones, the skeleton of that original there, while also trying to build around that in your own unique way, that's the best way to do a remake. So
Davey,
yeah, for sure. I really love it when they just sort of look at it from a different perspective or highlight a different part of the story. Just the other night on my Discord, Erica, who I think might still be in the chat, she put on The Crazies from 2010, which I haven't seen since the theater. And I did enjoy it and everything like that. And I'm a huge fan of the original. Romero's my favorite director. So I love that it's like, you can love the original film and then you can watch that remake and they've modernized it. They take little things from that. They take the basic idea of the original, but the original is much more of an examination and a critique on how government response is inadequate and governments are ineffective and all this kind of stuff. The remake doesn't really worry about any of that kind of stuff. The government is this tiny little part of that movie, and the movie's still very entertaining. So, I love that. Zack Snyder's 04 Dawn of the Dead remake is super refreshing. Both movies are great, and they're not really, other than the mall, there's not much in those movies that are very similar, really. So that's what I think.
But it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I know the three of us agree with that too, because Rob Zombie's Halloween. I like the movie. I'm not in love with that movie. It tried to do something wildly different. And damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's a remake to Halloween. If he would have done a shot for shot, people would have said it was lazy. The fact that he did try to do something crazily different, people said, "Oh my God, this is stupid. We don't need this." So I see people in the chat saying stuff like, "Oh, I used to be a proponent of like remakes are bad, but now I've come to my senses." Like, I appreciate that because I I think the moment for us when that clicks is when we all find that remake where we're like, was that better? I think that was better. And like, that's when you start to go like, holy shit, like it is possible to take something that people hold in high regard and actually improve it.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things too, when people say it dilutes or like does something to, taint the name of the original. It's like, well, it's just going to bring more eyes and bring more viewership to the original. And I think that's a good thing. It's like covering a song, like a song gets covered and then look, the original song starts getting more attention. It can't be bad for the original piece of art. It can't be.
I just asked because we got 3 more stories, and I figured I'd let the chat decide because there's nothing like huge. Like we got The Long Walk, we got Hatchet 5, and we got Insidious 6, and it looks like everybody wants us to cover Long Walk. Before we cover Long Walk, I want to say too, given the events of last week, with Charlie Kirk dying, Irina, I always forget her name, the Ukraine young girl. Like in 1 week, we had it was a shitstorm for the week, and it really put me in like the worst funk imaginable. Just because of this isn't me saying I'm like the biggest Charlie Kirk fan, or this isn't about that. This is just about people dying, and how the world sort of stopped for a second, and the entertainment industry stopped, and it affected everything around us. And after that, it felt like that's why I haven't really put out a video, except for like yesterday. I finally put out one that I had actually recorded before that day, last Wednesday. But I just want to say, I want to thank Davey and Nick because I'm not going to lie. I had to build up the energy and the courage to even do the stream tonight. I felt like I kind of forced myself to do it, but I'm glad I did because Davey and Nick, you guys made me feel good again about talking about pop culture. And I just want to say thank you to you guys in the chat because it was a rough week. It was just a really, really rough week. And I know it affected some more than it did others, but I take death seriously, especially when it's a young, these were 2 very young people that died sort of ironically in the same way.
It's just when it's public like that, like in this day and age, like, when you see it, we talked about this on Unita for about 15 minutes, and Christian and I were very, very upfront with how we felt, and I didn't really leave any wiggle room. If you don't see it the same way I do, then I don't care to have you on board my channel. Like, I'll just be brutally honest with you, as somebody that should not be a surprise to some of you guys. I did not agree with pretty much anything Charlie Kirk said, but he had a right to say it. He had a right to live just as everybody else does. And the fact that would happen to disagree with that person, and I understand. I understand when people come back and be like, "Oh yeah, well, some of the opinions were harmful," and I'm not arguing that. I'm simply just saying, like, the fact that happened and that so many people not only didn't care but celebrated it was just like gross. Like, we've
really bad. Yeah.
We've
really
lost
gross.
our humanity. Like, before you're a member of a political party or before you're anything, you're a human. And like, we're all in this together as humans. And like, we all wish to be able to live long, happy, healthy lives. And when that gets taken away from anybody, especially so violently, it's a shame. Like, it's a travesty. It's disgusting. And like, anybody that can take the time to find that funny, I just got no use for you, man. Like, you need to look in the mirror, because that is you essentially admitting you've lost your humanity. And that's kind of where we are right now as a culture, where it's like, we've lost our humanity. Like, that's the tether. That should be the tether for all of us. Like, at the end of the day, we can sit down and be like, you can be like, I fucking hate this person. I don't agree with a single thing they say. They're a fucking idiot. But it ends there. It ends there. It's not personal. It's not, it's gross, man.
Let's say that I didn't agree with anything Charlie Kirk said, or most of. Let's say I didn't. I do think that what he was doing was a great thing and was important. And but what I mean by that is that he was encouraging conversation. Yeah, he could be a little bit aggressive in his approach sometimes, but I think it's better than not talking. And that's one
Yeah.
thing. And I didn't even really watch Charlie Kirk until after. And I did. I'm not going to lie. I went down a rabbit hole and I watched a lot of his stuff. And I will even say that I saw before I went down that rabbit hole, I saw a lot of people saying, all these things that he was. And this is just my opinion, okay? But when I watched the stuff, I'd say half of that stuff wasn't true in my mind when I watched it. And I did see compassion, and I did see acceptance. And he put his microphone down out of respect, just to give people their. But I liked that the conversation was happening, and I mentioned this in the video that I made. If disagreements and having discussions with people that are on the opposing side, I think is extremely important than not talking at all, or talking to somebody that's just, gonna agree with everything you say. Because what does that do? I think opening discussion with the person on the other side of the spectrum, an opposing viewpoint, sometimes can bring about maybe new ideas. Maybe both parties are wrong. But you don't know unless you actually talk.
That's the thing that I'm struggling with this right now, is that the fact that there are people that are making fun of it and like laughing and taking victory laps, like that's a problem, a huge problem. And the other problem I'm having with this is like, we're still doing this bullshit about like finger pointing. Like,
it's even worse now.
Well, I'm done with that. It's both of you. It's both of you. Look in the mirror.
Yep, it is.
Like, look in the mirror.
100%.
Just a couple months ago, two people on the opposite side of the aisle were killed by somebody who had the differing beliefs. Like, stop. This one was just more public because this person was far more influential and a larger public figure. But we cannot sit here and say that we are like, oh, it's 80% this and 20% that. No, it's 50-50. Like it's happening on both sides because there's crazy people on both sides, because we are so polarized right now that we feel like if we don't agree with somebody, well, we just have to silence them. We have to shut them up, that violence is acceptable, that it's almost necessary. No, it's not. And it's happening on both sides. And I'm sorry, but no matter what narrative you want to spin, the data does not back up the fact that this is predominantly one person's issue and not the others. It is both fucking sides. And until you see that and admit that and go like, dude, we got to turn the temperature down. Holy, we have to. Yeah. It's a fucking problem, man. It's a problem because times like this just take people like, you know what? It's these motherfuckers. No, it's both of you. It's both of you. Like I'm so over it. Like it just makes it to where it's like, this is where politics are today. Like this is where it is. Like we're just we're in this fucking quagmire of like, who's going to get killed this week? Who's going to get beat this week? Whose rights are going to be violated this week? Like it's fucking
it's not even surprising anymore.
No, it's not. The data does not back that up. I'm sorry. I'm just talking to the chat. It doesn't back that up. You can have any narrative you want to have. The data does not back up saying that it's not 50-50. Actually, it's not my opinion. That's not my opinion. That's fact. Google it. I know you may not want to trust Google because it might be infected by whatever the fuck bullshit. No, it's both sides. Both sides. It's a fact. I'm done.
But the point here
is
that
I think
go ahead, Davey.
I think, what Charlie Kirk did is something that should be emulated by everybody. So if we're going to talk both sides, let's try to spin a positive. I think it should be emulated by everybody. Our politicians, our highest elected officials for decades now haven't really been able to operate in that manner. When George W. Bush was elected, people were calling him a Nazi and saying that the world would end. That happens every time a Republican gets elected. So maybe violence happens on both sides because of insane people. I notice in my own personal experience and just watching what goes on out there, that there is one side that doesn't use words like fascist and Nazi when they're talking about the other people. And there's one that uses them a lot.
Where were you when Barack Obama was president and everybody just tried to say that he wasn't?
Was he called a Nazi?
And no, they said he was a Muslim that wasn't born in this country. Like, I'm sorry, but during the height of the Islamic panic after 9/11.
Yeah,
to then
I was
compare the
there. I know what you're talking about.
I'm just
I
saying,
mean, the
like
current
that's
president
just
didn't
as
believe it.
dangerous. That's what I'm saying. It's just as dangerous. The country was polarized, and they were like, "Holy shit!" Oh, we were. Well, I mean, everybody was terrified. My mom she'd see someone in a hijab in public, and she'd be like, "Oh no," which is stupid. And you had people saying, "Oh, I don't think he's born here. I think he's Muslim. His middle name's Hussein." Like that's what I'm saying. Like we can all cherry pick an example.
Sure, this guy though, I'll cherry pick the most recent one. The guy that was killed last week was called a fascist and a Nazi. Like it still is being called that. So I think that it's, I think that the one thing I notice and what I encourage everyone to do if they don't like Charlie Kirk or whatever, or if they believe those things, is just go watch videos of him talking to people.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
You will realize he's a really reasonable guy and a very loving guy that I've seen so many videos where he's telling people that he directly has opposing viewpoints with or lifestyles that he doesn't approve of, but he's telling them, I love you. It's like it is. So we live in a day and age where you can just get the information and you don't have to read an article that someone said or like part of a quote that someone put in their article or on their Facebook post. Like, everything he did was so well documented. You can just find out what kind of person he was that way. And if you don't agree with it, then that. But it's one of those things really where I just think the debate should be emulated.
I think that it just become too much of who we are as people, and I think that that's a problem. Like I remember growing up, your political affiliation didn't impact who you spoke to or like places you went. At all. And like now, everything is identity politics, where it's just like, I can't even visit this place, like my mom's like, I don't want to go to California. And I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like and people won't go to Florida. It's just
California's great to visit. You don't want to live there because it's too expensive. But visiting's great.
Dude, I was in the military and I think a lot of people think the military is mostly right. And maybe they're right, but I was in it. So looking from the inside out, I can tell you right now, there were quite a few people on the left and quite a few people on the right and quite a few different religions. Just every freaking, and I can tell you right now, we never got into an argument. I'm trying to think, racking my brain thinking, did I ever get into a political argument with anybody in the military that was on maybe it doesn't help that I'm kind of in the middle on this. I'm not fully, I have certain values that I appreciate on both sides. I really do. So I think that's why I've always had friends on both sides and I don't think.
And the media is there to fuck it all up for us. The media and the government don't want us to get along.
And I just want to say, because the government, I see some people in the chat saying stuff like, oh, we don't want to talk about this, like move on, like blah, blah, blah. Guys, the reason we are where we are is because we have sequestered ourselves and we don't talk about it. So no, I'm not going to do that. I feel like if anybody has a platform, you should be able to come at something with decency and humanity and try to find middle ground. And we have to exchange ideas and we have to talk, because the more that we back into our corners, the worse, the lower the chance is that we are ever going to come together again and find our fucking shared humanity. So, and we're not calling out politicians by name. Like, I appreciate somebody said that. We're not saying I'm this side, I'm that side, this side sucks, we love this. No, what we're doing is we're saying it is a dangerous time to live in right now. There is crazy shit said and done every other fucking day, no matter where you go, and us ignoring it and just, or fanning those flames, either one just makes it worse. Like, we got to talk about these things.
That's like one thing that like Charlie would say, like people would ask him, why do you do this? And he's like, I do this because when we stop talking, that's when violence happens. Like when marriages, when people stop talking in marriages, the marriage suffers. And he said, when civil societies stop talking to each other, that's when civil war happens. So he literally, like, kind of in a way, it's sort of like prophetic as to what happened with him, because the person that, assassinated him in public, it couldn't articulate or even argue. And they, when you don't have that ground to stand on and then you react that way, whether it's name calling or violence or whatever, it's like, that's the whole point. We have to be able to talk about this stuff. The way we talk about movies here, because we're very respectful on like understanding that people have different opinions on movies and art, we need to apply some of that to social issues and political issues and not assume that the other is an enemy. And I think one thing, like I've said it a couple times moving forward, is like, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, show grace to yourself, show grace to others, know how far you would go for the people that you love in your life, but also at the same time, know which lines you won't cross when it comes to your worst enemy. We've got to have a moral compass. And it doesn't have to come from religion, but everyone's got morals, and anyone that has morals that think that they should cross that line, that I feel bad. I pray for you, and I hope you realize that there's a better way to move forward.
I'm just tired of seeing society where it is today. I'm tired of seeing the rot just continue to grow, and everybody pointing fingers. And everybody's saying, you're the problem. No, you're the problem. And because I view you as a problem, that I am going to then act on that. Or, I mean, it's just gotten to this point where it's like, we've talked about this before. Like I'm not registered to either party. That's public information. You can look it up in my county. I voted on both sides of the aisle in my life. I have. I genuinely consider myself somebody that is relatively in the middle. And if people like us can't talk about what we see and what we're seeing and how it's getting worse, and how like, hey guys, you know, I'm not a member of the DNC or the RNC coming here to try to get your money or your vote. No, I'm just a dude that's like watching society fucking collapse before my eyes. And like, it just kind of breaks my heart that we're here, that we've lost all empathy for everyone aside from ourselves or people that agree with us, and they're the enemy. And it's just like, no, they're fucking not.
There's people in the, there's people in the chat, they don't want to talk about this stuff, and I get that, but yeah, we're horror channels, and 99% of the time we don't talk about this stuff. But when you have situations like this that happened this last week, I think sometimes we need to talk. And I didn't even plan on talking about this tonight, but I kind of had a feeling once I started talking about it, it's almost like opening up a relief valve, because I think sometimes you have to get stuff out. And I think before this last week, I used to tell myself, don't ever talk about politics on the channel. No. And I still feel that for the most part. But if I can, because there's so much darkness in this world, and that last video I made was about, it wasn't necessarily political. It was just about where we were. And I felt like I needed to talk about the incident with Charlie Kirk and the young girl. And there were people in those comments that said, hey, I'm here to, they clicked on the video, the title of the video and the thumbnail made you know what it was, but for some reason they still watched it.
You're not talking about Halloween? What the fuck?
Yeah. They left a comment stating, I'm not here for that. But meanwhile, the video's got almost 10,000 views. So some people like that, that a horror. Matter of fact, a lot of people said that. Thank you for having the balls to make a video like this in your space.
No, Lee, the last thing I'll say about this, Christian put this best. If you're taking this conversation as political, you are the problem. And I'm just going to say that. If somebody takes us having human fucking decency and compassion and talking about how this shit has gone too far, if that is political to you, you're the problem. You are the problem. I'm not the problem. Lee's not the problem. Davey's not the problem. You are the problem, because you view everything from a political lens when I can view things from a fucking human lens and say it's too far. It's gone too far.
It's too much. I'm sick of it.
And I think it happened to somebody that, the number one thing that he's probably going to be remembered for from most people is not being so brave that you're willing to speak reasonably with somebody until you're shot in the neck for it. So in that spirit, I think that's what's making people sort of be like, enough is enough. I am not going to be afraid anymore. Like I'm going to take that example, and that can be good. Using your words. Dude,
it can be really, really good. I saw a lot of people on the left. I'm not going to say they changed their political affiliation, although some of them did actually. But I saw a lot of freaking comments on YouTube stating that, you know what, I actually went and started watching his stuff after he passed away, hating the guy, and now I don't hate him as much. He's not the monster that I thought he was, because I actually took the time to watch the entire video in the full context. And yet, did I agree with everything he said? No, not at all. But it wasn't about the politics. It was about the discussion and how the discussion was handled and the respect that was given. That's the important. Two people don't have to agree on everything when they're having a conversation. Sometimes it's nice to hear an opposing side. I'll say this: my family, we had a cookout yesterday. My wife, my son, my daughter, and me. And I talked to them, and I was like, you know what? What's cool? I'll tell you right now. One of my children left. One of my children is right, fully. And me and my wife are what we are. And we have never once gotten into an argument with each other about our beliefs. And I can tell you right now, one of my children hated Charlie Kirk. And one of my children yesterday, she says, I like Charlie Kirk, And so I literally had two people in my living room yesterday. One of them hated Charlie Kirk. One of them liked Charlie Kirk. After the conversation, my son was like, well, I just outed my son. he was basically like, okay, you know what? I think I'm going to go start watching a little bit. I'm going to see for myself, because he didn't really, he listened to what was said online, instead of, and don't listen to me. Don't listen to Davey. Don't listen to Nick. Watch for yourself. Make
don't listen
your own
about
opinion.
fucking anything. But
exactly.
But we live in a day and age. Yeah, so much of it is out there, and another thing too is when you cherry pick like the certain things. It's like, man, when I was in my early 20s, I'm happy that everything I said wasn't documented.
But I mean, there's only two factions of people that are doing victory laps with this right now, and it's the people on the super far side of the left that don't even vote in our elections anyway, because they would rather everything be free, and like it's unrealistic expectations, so fuck them. And then you have the people on the super far right that like people like Nick Fuentes that are like, yeah, fuck Charlie Kirk.
And there's people on the super far right that annoy the shit out of me.
Oh, dude,
just like the super far left.
That's what I'm saying. Both
extremism is ugly.
Yes, those two extremes on both sides of the spectrum are fucking dangerous, bro. Just hearing the shit they say. Unless
you're an extreme Rob Zombie Halloween 2 fan.
Yeah,
that's the kind of extremism I'm down for.
And guys, I just want to say to everybody in the chat, like, I wasn't trying. We're not trying to piss anybody off tonight. Like,
not at all.
This is one of the biggest things to happen for us in the United States in a while. It's a flashpoint for us. Like, it is. If we don't talk about it, it seems like we're sweeping it under the rug. And I just want to give a shout out to both the gentlemen here with me, that I would say the three of us were very respectful. And I think the three of us came very much down the middle on this situation about, like, this is about humanity. This isn't about anything else. So I don't know. We all need to do better. Maybe there's somebody in your life that is on the opposite side of the spectrum as you. Maybe this week, try to talk to them about something. Like, try to have like a discourse about something civilly. Like, hey, because I feel like you'll find. I saw a post on Twitter the other day that was so great. It was like, the top, the 1% wants to keep us like this at each other, because the moment we stop, all of us will realize we all want to get from A to B. We just have different ways of getting there. But if we can find middle ground and we can kind of band together and be like, I don't agree with you on this, but we agree on some really important shit. Let's do something about it. That's when they're fucking cooked. And that's what we need to be working to.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't care, like, the things that you believe in and how you vote and all that stuff. Like, I want my neighbors and my fellow countrymen and women to have really good lives. Unless you really are like a vile, like, criminal kind of thing, of course. Yeah. But I mean, like, that's the thing, is like, most often, like, you look at your neighbor and you have more in common with them than you do with the people that are truly in power. And I think that's another part of it too, is us to just sort of realize that we have more things in common than the few things that split us apart. So let's chat nicely about the things that split us apart, and let's celebrate the things that we do love together, like our families and our lives, and and
I love all of you, no matter what you believe, unless it's like absolutely heinous shit. Like, if we have difference of opinions on healthcare or education reform or whatever it is, I still love you, and we can still have these conversations, and there ain't a damn thing wrong with it, because the moment we shut that shit down, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
So,
we don't need to name call, and we don't need to hit each other, or worse.
There's a saying that I really hold near and dear. It's go with love and peace will follow.
Mm.
No matter what conversation you're having, enter that conversation with nothing but love, and then peace will follow.
We're all on this
and it doesn't
crazy
matter if they
journey.
disagree with you.
We're all on this crazy journey together, guys. We know that life has its highs and life has its lows, and the last thing we need is to be beating each other down as well. Like it's just life's hard enough. You know,
I'm glad we talked about this. I feel good.
if this whole thing can bring reasonable people together, because that's who this is appealing to. It's making reasonable people draw a line in the sand on what is now truly in their face unreasonable. Then that is the greatest kind of legacy that he could leave behind, is that it, you know, it really does have a lasting impression. And hopefully multiple people will go around college campuses and do that kind of stuff.
Hit the bricks, guys. Future. Next, we're gonna go on a college tour. Fuck it.
There you go.
We've cracked it. All right. We know how the middle ground. I think the middle ground pisses people off more than honestly either other side.
It does.
I think they want us to be fully on one side or the other. And I'm never. I have so many people. They're like, "Damn, I can't figure you out. What are you?" I'm just like,
I've had people straight up say that. When I was in punk rock, people would be like, literally to my face, say, "You people in the middle are the problem," and I'm just like, "Yeah." The ones that don't want to go to war, we're the problem. Interesting. Okay. See ya.
Yeah, no, we're all enigmas, I guess, but I'm fine with that. I accept that.
Like you're speaking you're like a Sith. You speak in absolutes, you know.
And by the way, I didn't see The Long Walk, guys, so I couldn't have added anything to that anyway. I didn't see it.
I think we're gonna end it with this.
I think one of the reasons why it kind of sort of came up and kind of even blends in with this issue is that it got great reviews. It bombed. I mean, 11.5 million at the box office for the reviews. And Stephen King came out and said some ugly stuff and then retracted it and has been very contrite on Twitter. So I think it sort of kind of ties into what we're talking about here. I don't know if it has a direct correlation, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I did see that it kind of underperformed. I know the budget was modest, so it probably will still turn a profit. But let that be a lesson to literally any of you. Before you have the facts, put the fucking phone down. Like, just put it down. Like, before just put it down. Like,
touch grass.
That's you just get the facts first. I literally like. Anytime, well, it was happening all over the place the day after. People on both sides were claiming wild shit that didn't end up being true, and I'm like, it's crazy. Maybe we should take a couple days before we say wild shit. Like, let's get some.
There's an urge to just get out there and do it. Yeah.
Everybody just run in your living room and dance naked. That's all you got to do, and then you'll get through all this. You know,
I got to the point where I was like, I'm not even going to share like my opinion because I don't think I'm that smart of a person. So what I can do is if I come across a video that's a very reasonable video of him, or just a video of him that's talking to somebody, I'm like, I'll just share that in my story, and somebody can watch it if they want to. I don't need to go out there and tell people what to believe in.
Super Tenor, he's been watching my videos for years. You know I love you, dude. And I hope you understand where I was coming from. I feel like I was very much trying to be like, guys, we're all a fucking problem right now. Yeah. The landscape is a problem. We have to fix that. So
it's like the comedian says in Watchmen, it's all a big fucking joke.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. But it's a funny line.
It's all a fucking puppet show. Yeah. And we're getting played, man. We're all getting played. And the moment we realize that,
the reasonable people have to step forward. There's gotta be far more of us than the brainwashed.
Yeah. There are, dude.
I have to believe that, so we have to feel comfortable talking. Yeah.
There's 3 factions in this country, y'all. 20% on the left, 20% on the right, 60% in the fucking no. And
I think there's more in the middle than we think.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Why do you think elections every 4 years are up in the air? Because the largest voting block is people that don't identify with either side. Like if it was truly 50-50, then every election would be like, all right, well, it's going to just come down to the wire, a couple votes here and there. Like, no, it's about convincing the people in the middle.
There's the old SNL skit that I think it's from way back when, like 88, and it's like, election 88, America flips a coin. It's like,
That's how it would be. Always.
You've seen the South Park episode, right? The huge douche and the turd sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I don't give a shit who you were in 2016. No matter what side of the aisle you were on, I think most people were like, "Really, bro? Like,
This is what I got.
I have to choose. Do I have to?"
I've been there. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
Davey, what do you got coming up, brother?
So I've got tomorrow I'm going to be on Facci Cinema to do a watch party of Season of the Witch, Halloween 3.
Oh, nice.
Wednesday I'm doing Late Night with the Davey Before Dark because I'm checking out the press screening of Him later on that evening, and I'm very excited to watch Him. It's looking really good. And then Thursday I've got another watch party over on Shea Rants. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but really what I'm putting together here is something for October 17th. I'm planning it all out, everyone. So I'm just letting everyone know now I'm going to do like a 10-hour marathon, and it's going to be a fundraiser for the St. Mary's Food Bank here in the Phoenix area. They're not affiliated. They're not no, I'll just have to take potty breaks. They're not affiliated with a church per se, but their building was donated by the St. Mary's Parish, along with $3,000 when they started in 1967. They're one of the top 100 charities from Forbes magazine and all that great stuff. They just take care of needy families here in the Phoenix area. So putting something together for them, and I'm going to have these two gentlemen on and a whole bunch of other people. We're going to talk. All the guests that are coming on, guys, just to give you an idea, it's not just going to be talking about charity or anything like that. We're going to talk about each person's favorite horror movie from each decade of their life. And so it's just going to be, we're going to talk about horror. We're not going to talk about Charlie Kirk. But it'll be a great way to bring some positivity in the world and feed some families in need. So that's the big thing I got going.
Nick, what about you, brother?
So
Nick's killing it on his channel, by the way.
I'm staying busy. I don't know. I might wake up tomorrow and get canceled for being somebody that tried to be decent. Whatever.
Yeah, it's all
dare you be reasonable.
No, I know. Like, anyway. But I got a video coming out tomorrow about how Halloween 2018 made one massive fucking mistake that I still can't get over to this day. And don't worry. Ooh. The thumbnail is appropriately over the top with me totally face palming.
And
you gotta. Here's what I've been on lately, guys, is I record one, I edit it, and I get it on Patreon the night before. So I've already got that done. I'll record something tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to record tomorrow to drop the next day, but I'm doing it like one a day and get it in the can at night before bed and then drop it the next day. So don't really know where the week will take me, but I do know that obviously Davey mentioned that stream. Yep, Lee and I are going to be on there. I also, Piz reached out to me the other day and asked me if I wanted to come on a stream on his channel for talking about Halloween, not the movies, the season itself, some nostalgia and whatnot. So I'm going to be doing that with Christian as well. I know I'm going to be with Facci soon. He keeps trying to get me, and I'm like, oh yeah, well I was on vacation. Oh, I got my son. Like, it definitely has been crazy, but I got a lot of stuff, and I'm going to stream this week one night. Whether that's with Justin on Wednesday or not, I don't know. It might be a solo stream. We'll just see how it goes. But yeah, you know how it is. I mean, guys, I can't promise you that what the content's going to be every day, but I can promise you there will be content. So just, keep your eyes peeled.
The next thing I got, I think it's Him. I think that's the next review I got. I'd like to do. I'm trying to decide if I want to do, because I'm due for another revisited for either Friday Part 4 or Nightmare 4. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. So those are always fun.
You need to do Nightmare 4 because it's better than Dream Warriors.
I might do Nightmare 4.
Really
you know what, Nick just called it. I'm doing really Nightmare 4 next. All right, thank you.
There you go, guys. There's the thumbnail. All right, so get ready. Get ready for that. That's not going to stoke controversy, but yeah.
Oh, and real quick, my wife's book is still for sale on Amazon. Delilah versus the Ghastly Grimm. A school teacher bought an entire classroom, every student, a book in Indiana.
That's amazing.
So freaking we've been getting so many great reviews on Amazon. So many people have been reaching out to us saying how much they love the book, especially if you got like middle school kids, children. They really enjoy the book. So I like the cover. I think it's a badass looking cover.
Beautiful.
I like blue. Blue's a good cover. Isn't that a beautiful cover? Michael.
Very moody.
yeah, I'm trying to remember the guy's last name. We actually commissioned a guy to do the artwork, and yeah, he does
it's
phenomenal
beautiful.
work. So yeah, buy the book, damn it. Okay, so yeah, guys, this was so freaking fun. Had a freaking blast doing this. You guys got me back on the train again. So I'm looking forward to making more content. Okay, brighter
Hell yeah.
skies ahead. All right. So anyway, guys, take care of each other. Love you guys to death. Be good to each other. Okay. Love you guys.
Take care, y'all.